Assalamualaikum and a very good day I wish to my supervisor, Encik Hassan bin Attan and all. My name is Muhammad Hazim bin Musa and I am from 3 BMMW 1/2. Today I would like to present my final year project entitled Design and Development of Gold Bar Stamping Die. Historically, the process of stamping die referred to the word pressing. This term refers to the machinery that is used to make custom any pieces. The gold bar is a molten metal that is poured into molds. It will be a quantity of pure metallic gold in any shape manufactured by a bar manufacturer under a standard production, labeling, and record keeping condition. The project objective of design and development of gold bar stamping die are to create a gold bar stamping die using appropriate steps of simulation and parameters, such as using correct process and dimensions. Next, to study and use correct and precise material of gold bar stamping die. The scope of the project of design and development of gold bar stamping die is involving in the processing of physical gold based on different manufacturer. Next, research on manufacturer logo to provide different design of stamping die. And lastly, exploration about the machine parameters and type of machine that are suitable to be used to build a stamping die. Next, I would like to tell about literature review. This chapter discusses about types of die, stamping die framework, and material selection. Stamping dies come in variety of shapes and sizes. The most often performed process in a stamping die is cutting. Trimming also use of process in stamping die. Trimming dies cut away excess or unwanted irregular features from a part. They are usually the last operation performed. Next, I would like to tell about notching. It is a shearing or punching process used on sheet metal, used to cut vertically down and perpendicular to the surface. Blanking die produces a flat piece of material by cutting desired shape in one operation. The finished part is referred to as a blank. Next, I would like to tell about stamping die framework. To create an intelligent system for designing and producing sheet metal dies, it is required a computer-aided design CAD, computer-aided process planning CAPP, and computer-aided manufacturing CAM. The proposed framework of making stamping die by Hussein and Kumar stated that they interested in feature extraction and process design. Next, the prior modules generated 3D models of die components on their own. Lastly, the development of computer-aided design tools for mechanical stamping die manufacture. This is the flowchart proposed by Hussein and Kumar. The system determines which procedures are necessary and in what order for the die to be manufactured. The system chooses the appropriate type of stamping dies as well as their layout for performing the sheet metal operation. Next, the system generates 3D drawing of primary die components and die assembly as output. Lastly, the system generates G-code for die component manufacture and mimics the machining procedure. Last about chapter 2, I would like to tell about material selection for stamping die. Sanzi stated that currently the bulk of materials used to manufacture stamping die are steel-based, such as carbon tool steel, low alloy tool steel, high carbon high chromium or medium chromium tool steels, and medium carbon alloy steel. The hardenability of carbon tool steels and red hardness are poor. Heat deformation is large and the bearing capacity is low. For high-speed steel, it is commonly used in the mode such as W18CR4V, which containing less tungsten. And for carbide and steel cemented carbide, it uses as a mold with a low impact and a high wear resistance is required. For the summary for literature review, this chapter discusses about the type of die, making of stamping die framework, suitable material used for making die and best software to design stamping die. All are stated in the project report. This project's expected outcome is to fabricate the gold bar stamping die for industrial use. Methodology. For the methodology, this chapter describes how the gold bar stamping die have been developed. The current work use applied methodology where design and fabrication will be implemented to answer the research question and achieve the project objective. I would like to tell about design sketching. For the opening step, first use SolidWorks 2018 version. Next, select New on the taskbar. Third step is select new part. And lastly, use mmgs millimeter gram second as the universal unit system. This is the upper die shoe sketching step. The important method of doing this are the sketching of the text on the face of the stamping die. The text is need to be flipped horizontally. The method is we need to select flip horizontal left side and flip vertical to origin. It is to ensure the text sketch arranged in reverse. As when we produce the gold bar, the text sketch will start from left side. Next, the important step of doing this part is the support rod. We need to sketch two circles with a radius of 6.5 mm and 60 mm width. The support rod are extruded to 35 mm of distance. For the lower die shoe, I would like to show the video in the making of the parts. First, we need to extrude the circle of 80 mm in diameter to 60 mm of distance. Next, we need to sketch a rectangle of 40 mm of width and 60 mm of length. Sketch the fillet of the rectangle with 10 mm radius. Next, sketch two circles at the surface. Extrude the sketch to 40 mm of distance. The support slot have been made at the upper die shoe. Lastly, sketch any design of pattern and extrude it to 0.5 mm of distance. Preliminary result. This is the preliminary result of upper die shoe. It is cylindrical shape of stamping die with a height of 60 mm and diameter of 80 mm. For the lower die shoe, it is also have a dimension of 60 mm in height and 80 mm of diameter. For the summary for final year project 1, I have learned a lot about design and development of gold bar stamping die. It is hard for me to do the project, moreover we are in the middle of pandemic. However, thanks a lot to my supervisor, Encik Hassan bin Attan, for endless guidance and support. I could finish doing my FYP1. Appreciation also goes to my friends of BMMW for endless advices. That's all from me. Thank you. See you in FYP2.